Hey Rangers, today we're going to be looking at Supergirl episode 7, and oh boy was it a good one. So let's start with the review. This is my top 10 what moments, and oh yeah. Let's begin. Number 10 is Sam finding out that she's got superpowers. Previously, we've seen that she was shot and the bullet just did nothing. It kind of went through her clothes, but when it hit her, just did nothing. But now we see her cooking pasta, and she puts her hand straight into the boiling water. But instead of it being burnt or her pulling away or screaming in pain, she actually pulls it out like she'd put it in cold water, and there's nothing there. She looks really kind of like, oh, this is really, really weird. And she has a go at Ruby and says, look, you're going to go and eat at your friends. Just go. This is not a discussion. This is a just go, go, just go, go. Number 9 is John and his dad's relationship. Now, this goes through the entire episode, but there's nothing that kind of really stands out. The fact is that John's dad is pretty much a prisoner from previously on Mars, to the point now where he is still like showing some stuff like, you know, he has to ask if he wants to do anything. When everyone says, hey, John, just take your dad out, have some fun. When he does, he's kind of like still switched into work mode, and he can't really get rid of it. As soon as his dad points this out, though, he kind of really thinks later on and goes, oh, you know, I need to change. And thus, therefore, at the very end of the episode, he gets his apartment. And it's kind of nice. I thought it would be a huge thing like they've done previously with in Arrow and The Flash. But this is kind of a cozy little place, so I'm wondering what's going to happen. Maybe they'll upgrade to another place later, but it's really nice to see the sort of kind of relationship that they have at the moment. Number 8 is finding Mon-El. Now, previously we'd seen a hand on a stasis pod, and I called it, and I was like, thinking, it's just gonna be silly, it's gonna be someone else, but this was Mon-El. At the very beginning of the episode, we have a submarine, and this submarine finds the ship, it gets attacked, and this is when the DEO find everything about it, and they go and find it. Now, Wynn finds out whereabouts it would be on land, and Supergirl is about to do like a spinny thing to kind of drill down all the way to the actual spaceship. But it's also reminded me of Wonder Woman, and Kara mentions that it's a actual Superman thing that he did it once, and it was very kind of costly and damaged and stuff like that. So John turns around and says, actually, do this, gives them kind of a hug, but then kind of like phases them through the actual, like the rock to the actual spaceship. When they're inside the spaceship, they're wondering, what's going on? Like, how is this working? You know, who is here? What is this ship? And they find an open pod, or the stasis chamber. As soon as they kind of look around, everything's dark, and then suddenly there is a mysterious man who fires at Kara. Kara then kind of deflects it, and she's like, no, stop shooting. And then we see that it's Mon-El. Mon-El has returned. Oh, this is going to be good. Within the same scene, Kara gives him a giant hug. She is pleased. She's had this happy moment since the beginning of the season, and she just hugs him, and now she thinks that things are going to get back on track. Number 7 is Sam finding out that she is not from Earth. She was actually from space, and this scene was really kind of cool. Well, this entire whole segment, shall I say. Sam goes to her adoptive mother, Patricia, and says, hey, you know, I'm not me. What does this mean? You know, was I different? Did I do this? And Patricia then shows Sam everything that's going on, and actually shows her the pod. Now, this also reminded me very like calling back to Smallville, Lois and Clark back in the day, as well as like kind of Man of Steel. And this whole scene of her looking around the pod, touching it, activating it, getting the crystal from it that pops up on the front, but also the music, the way that it plays in really, really well, made the whole scene kind of very believable and kind of like, ooh, what's going on? Number 6 is Mon-El breaking into a top secret storage unit. And this is kind of really kind of fun because you kind of think, oh, well, Mon-El's a bad guy. What's going on? And when we look at the storage, we see that there is the staff from one of the previous episodes from when Kara went to Earth with John to find John's dad. At that point, you're thinking, oh, maybe he's going for that. Maybe he needs that. But no, he goes for this like circular ring, which I'm guessing is a power source, which is kind of weird that they have something like that in the DEO. And at this point, he knocks out 2 guards, and then when he turns around, he sees Supergirl, and she just punches him and knocks him clean out. Number 5 is Kara opening up to Mon-El. Now, she's saying that she couldn't sleep. She was worried. She keeps having nightmares that he died in space, and, you know, it gets to her. You know, the second that she saw him, she saw hope, and that's what it kind of brought back to her. And you saw it, obviously, with the, like, how she is with him straight away, but he has something to hide, and this is kind of like, what does he have to hide? What do you want to know? But you kind of think, oh, it's something to do with the ship, because it's just all about the ship. Number 4 is Mon-El convincing Winn to actually go and help him go to the spaceship. He explains that he needs a friend, he doesn't need Kara right now, and the fact that people are going to die. Winn then takes him down to the ship, gives him the kind of circle thing that actually powers up everything that Mon-El needs, and starts kind of going through things to kind of get the ship back on track. When Supergirl's there, she explains like, oh, you know, he's been kidnapped, this is definitely not Mon-El, and he explains like, you know, things are completely different. And Supergirl turns around and says, look, yeah, things are different, but it's been 7 months. At this point, like, Mon-El loses it, and he's like, no, it's been 7 years for me. And it stuns everyone. They're like, oh, he explains that he's been in the future for about 7 years, the 31st century or the 30th century, and just kind of says that, you know, the space pod that he was in was actually kind of taken and went through a portal, and he's been living in the future. Everyone is really shocked until the kind of alarms go off, and this then signals the fact is that one of the pods is failing, and the fact is that he has to get whoever it is, and it's very precious. Because he can't break it, he gets Supergirl to smash through it, and a mysterious girl falls out the pod and into his arms. Number 3 is Sam's adventures through the desert. Between the segments of the show, you've seen Sam go off into the desert with the crystal. She needs to find out what is going on, and it's glowing every single time. But when she gets to a certain part in the desert, like, everything kind of breaks out. There's loads of rocks flying everywhere, and it kind of reminded me much of Superman Returns, and it looks very, very similar to the Fortress of Solitude. So we're going to find out more about that later on in the episode. Number 2 is Kara and Mon-El's talk. They start like reminiscing of the past slightly, and Mon-El says, like, you know, due to the fact of what she did for him, you know, he has become a better person. He has become like what he wants to be, and it's all thanks to her. She notices that he's been wearing the necklace that she gave him, and he's like, yeah, it's a symbol of my remembrance for you. I'm always going to wear it no matter what. As soon as kind of Kara gets really kind of close, she's like, oh my god, this is amazing. Suddenly we hear a voice in the background of the girl that was from the stasis pod. Mon-El breaks the news that he actually got married in the future, that he had to move on and not think of the past. He meets a girl called Amira Ardeen, which is Assassin Girl from the comic books. Because Kara is not expecting this, she doesn't know how to handle it. And you kind of think, that's going to be something. That's going to be a very interesting thing. But again, I can see Mon-El saying, look, it's been 7 years. For you, it's 7 months. It's 7 years. I had to move on. You know, I couldn't do it. You know, I couldn't be alone. This was crazy. And she helped me. But I kind of think that with Assassin Girl and what her powers are, Kara is going to say, oh, you know, you took him from me, etc., etc. Number 1 is Rain Awakening. Oh, this just left the episode just on a cliffhanger, and it's really interesting. Now that Sam has entered the Fortress of Sanctity, this is now bringing everything up and what's going to happen. As Sam puts the crystal into the control deck, or the kind of computer, a hologram appears and tells her everything that she needs to know. We find out that Sam was meant to become Rain when she became 18, but because she had Ruby, it kind of slowed things down until who she was now. At this point where Sam is asking about different questions, is she a superhero? You know, she's from Krypton, is she like Supergirl? And the hologram just turns around and says, you are better, you are more advanced, you are stronger, etc., etc. You've got all this knowledge and science inside you, but you are not a hero. You are a world killer. She is a world killer. And with this, you know, Sam's like, no, I'm a good person. And the hologram says, well, actually, you're going to forget all about everything in a few moments. You know, your true awakening is going to come. And at that, she suddenly starts to change. She suddenly drops to her knees, she screams, and then all of a sudden she stands up with red eyes, and she starts saying, like, I have awakened in, I'm guessing, Kryptonian. And then boom, the episode ends, and oh my god, this was amazing. Like, next week I know is the crossover, which is gonna be fun. Oh, it's just going to be so good. I'm so looking forward to this. The episode to me was just different. I really enjoyed this. I thought, oh, you know, since last week's episode was a little bit kind of slow, this has really picked up the pace, and I'm just really excited to see what happens in Supergirl. That I just can't wait for next week until I can actually just start watching the crossover, and just the next episode, the next series, how it's all going to work. Oh, I'm just so excited about this. If you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel. If you want to help on Patreon, link will be in the description down below. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.